We must be in Anna's dream because the sparkle slander needs to stop and the Sunday glaze is out of control. We need to talk about this. What's going on, YouTube? Pleasure here once again. This time I should get with some more Honkai Star Rail. And listen, Sunday is around the corner. He's coming next week as of recording. And people are glazing quite a bit. And I'm not going to say it's all misplaced because I'm telling you right now, Sunday is going to be quite the unit, right? Better Bronya, what people have been calling him. And when the summon meta comes around, he is going to dominate. I'll tell you that right now. He's going to dominate. So I don't want to downplay this guy too much. Because the fact of the matter is he is a great unit and he's going to be fantastic, especially when his niche comes onto the field. But what a lot of people are doing, I'm noticing, is that in order to hype up Sunday, they're kind of downplaying another major player that we have in our accounts, which is Sparkle. A lot of people picked up Sparkle because, you know, we've all kind of, like most of us has always recommended, hey, make sure you get the Harmony unit, make sure you get the new Harmony unit, make sure you get the new Harmony unit. Sparkle was one of the ones that we said after Ron May, when Sparkle came around, said make sure you pick up Sparkle. And I don't know about you, but for my account, that has been one of the best decisions I've ever made. She has helped me on so many teams. Not only until the break and the follow-up meta came, was that when she started to take a back seat, but when Acheron comes on the field, she's right back at it. When I want to use other units, she's right back at it. If I have the other team on the other side with Ron May or Robin, usually Robin. Usually I don't use Sparkle to replace Ron May, but let's say if it's a Robin team and I'm using Robin on the other side, well, Sparkle's right there dishing out similar performance. Sparkle is in a lot better shape than people seem to perpetuate nowadays. She's still best in slot in Acheron teams. I stand by that. People have been saying that Robin is the new best in slot. No, she isn't. Sparkle is still the best in slot when it comes to Acheron teams for numerous reasons. She's constantly pushing Acheron forward, so she's getting multiple turns. I know Robin has the 100 advance action forward, but she's not constantly doing that every single time she goes. She's doing it every time she ults, which is hopefully far in between. So Sparkle has a lot of advantages. And I'm telling you right now, when it comes to hyper carry team comps, right? Non-summon meta, but hyper carry team comps, she's going to edge out Sunday when it comes to that. Not to say that if you don't have Sparkle, you shouldn't get Sunday. You should just get Sparkle instead. Not trying to say that, because he's going to do a fantastic job when it comes to hyper carry comps too, because that's what Bronya did, and he kind of just does a better job than Bronya. But using Sparkle and Sunday together, or using just Sparkle if you don't have him, in the future is going to be the best, right? But why do I say that? Because a lot of people have been pointing out all these different reasons as to why Sunday is taking over. I've heard people argue that he's more SP positive. Well, that's kind of the first argument that I kind of wanted to go after. Because I kind of feel that when people say that he's more SP positive with his light cone than Sparkle, it's a little disingenuous, right? Because why do people say that Sparkle isn't as SP positive as we think? Well, that's because Sparkle is a character that always wants to use her skill in order to use her kit properly. She wants to use her skill every single time. And because she's giving us, 4 skill points with her burst, she's essentially using up all the skill points that she's giving us before she bursts again. When you do the math, she's still skill point positive, but not by much, right? Not by much. But that's if you do the math with a perfect amount of rotations for it to even out. But the fact of the matter is, she gives you those skill points up front. Meaning that in every battle, that's not exactly what's happening. Sometimes she's positive 3 skill points. Sometimes she's positive 2 skill points. Sometimes she's, just what the math says, and 0.3% positive skill points. It all depends on how far you go in your rotations and how often you're ulting. I always find that a bit disingenuous, because let's say if I'm going through a Memory of Chaos run and I use a technique that gives me a good extra 3 skill points, right? Now my max skill points is now 7. Keep that in mind too. I now have 3 skill points that I can use. By the second turn, my Sparkle already has her burst, so she's gonna add another 4 skill points, right? So now she's supplying me with 7 skill points. How long is it going to take for Sparkle to use up all those skill points? She's not going to use all those skill points all up her own. If my characters are powerful, I'm doing a run and I'm trying to 0 cycle, I'm trying to 1 cycle, trying to 2 cycle. Most of those times, Sparkle isn't using up all those skill points that she's supplying with your team with. And also the fact that she's raising the bar of the skill points up to 7, meaning that in the usual math, when let's say you have 5 skill points, let's say you have 5 skill points and you have a SP positive support outside of Sparkle that does an auto attack, that skill point isn't going up anymore. There's no 6 skill point without Sparkle on the team. But with Sparkle on the team, you're getting the extra skill point. So there's now more ways to be SP positive outside of Sparkle. So when I hear people say Sparkle isn't an SP positive as you might think, I kind of just roll my eyes and say, oh, here we go again. The thing with Sunday is also a character who is actually is actually more SP positive you think, especially if you get his light cone. This is what kind of puts him over Bronya, right? Because with Bronya, you have to worry, if you have her E1, you have to worry about the RNG that she's going to give you your skill point back. With Sunday, you don't have to worry about that. And on top of that, when he bursts, if you have his light cone, he's going to give you a skill point anyway. This is fantastic, which is what makes him very competitive with the E0 Sparkle. But when it comes to just helping you with skill points, he's just outdone by Sparkle. And that's when it comes to hyper carry comps, right? And when it comes to buffs, let's try and bring this up here. Primeman actually added this that was actually pretty interesting, right? Where it's able to compare Sunday buffs, Bronya buffs, and Sparkle buffs. When you do out the damage amplification that they're all doing here, Sparkle's giving up to 98% crit damage, which is crazy. Then she's also giving 30% damage bonus, and then another 18% damage bonus, and another 15% attack. You know, she's giving a lot of buffs, and she amplifies damage the most for a single target than anybody else in the game, right? But then you have someone like Sunday, you know, who's also doing quite a bit. He's giving 30% damage bonus, which is the same. He's giving less crit damage, you know, which is fine, but he's also giving crit rate, right? So as you can see, like, there are different advantages to that, because that crit rate can be pretty helpful, which is why in my eyes, I kind of feel like that crit rate that he gives kind of puts Fu Xuan in more danger than Sparkle does. But, you know, that's another conversation. But he gives less damage bonus because of her passive. He gives less crit damage, and he doesn't give any attack. And I mean, there's the quantum passive, but that really doesn't amount to much. And when it comes to the action advance, you might think, oh, well, your character only goes once, and Sparkle makes you go once, and he makes you go twice. But the simple fact of the matter is that's not really a 1-for-1 right there, because Sparkle is going to make sure that your character, who's only going to go 1 cycle, make sure they go twice because of her high speed. So she's also buffing up the amount of times that your character goes. So at the end of the day, Sparkle is going to allow your hyper carries to do more damage. So what we really need to focus on when it comes to Sunday is the fact that when it comes to summons, he is going to be unmatched, and that is where his strength lies. He is strong in hyper carry, but not as strong as Sparkle. His strength is going to lie in the summon meta. So when we're trying to weigh the value of Sparkle versus Sunday, I really want to just hammer these points home. Right now, if I were to say, if there was a Sparkle banner and a Sunday banner, and I were to say, who do I recommend you pulling? I would say Sunday, because Sunday is an investment for the future, whereas Sparkle is a guaranteed buff to a lot of the past units. I do suspect that hyper carry is going to make a comeback, and when hyper carry does make a comeback, Sparkle's value is going to rise back up, and people are going to see her advantages over Sunday in those scenarios. But that is not certain. That is a hunch, right? That is just something that I think. That is not something that is proven. We don't know if that's going to happen. But what we know is going to happen is that summon meta is coming. So Sunday is the more valuable pull for most people's accounts. But as the meta stands now, Sparkle's value is just higher. And it is a little strange to me that most people aren't seeing that. And I kind of wanted to hammer that home in case people were putting that into account of why they were going to pull for Sunday. Just the simple fact that when it comes to how much skill points she does, how many buffs she gives. And even when it comes to one of my favorite things about her is I can put attack boost on my hyper carries, which is another boost in damage, which you're not going to see when you're listing out the stats on how much they boost characters. Because with Sunday, you still want to put speed boost onto your hyper carry because you want to do, you know, the +1 speed tuning. But when it comes to Sparkle, it doesn't matter what the speed your hyper carry is. They can be as slow as molasses as their base speed, and she's gonna pull them right up as if they're 160 speed or however much speed that she is. So yeah, when it comes to hyper carry, she just wins out. And I just want to kind of hammer that home. And since hyper carries just aren't the rage right now, you know, a lot of people can't see that, which is understandable. But yeah, this wasn't just to defend my waifu, though some people might see it like that regardless, but you know, whatever. Sometimes you gotta defend your waifu anyway. There's sometimes you gotta stay in your own business, you know. I do want to make sure that people are making educated decisions when it comes to which character they're going to pull and for what reasons, all right? Hopefully I cleared that up. Hopefully it didn't sound too ranty, because I just really wanted to, you know, just make it clear what different characters' advantages are. So let me know. This is open for discussion here, so definitely leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. Like the video if you like the content I am giving you, of course, and subscribe to the channel so you get more content like this. And without here, legend out.